The Arizona Coyotes are getting dangerously close to shirtless fat guy. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I'm your host, Robin Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson. I want to thank everyone for making the show your first listen every day. We're free and available everywhere you get your podcasts. We got a great show in today's episode. We're talking about the Arizona Coyotes taking their fourth straight win, Matthew, against a team that, again, we thought they should win against anyways, but final score 5-2. Over the San Jose Sharks, which I believe was my final score prediction.
I mean, it was probably. I'm not going to lie. As soon as we're done recording, everything I said is in one ear, out the other. I could have advocated for the new arena to be in Glendale, and I wouldn't remember.
Fair enough. But let's get to it, though, because a 5-2 win, still not, even though it's what I predicted, to me, still not like what I would have hoped as the outcome. I would have hoped a little bit better. But hey, you know what? You win by more than 3. Like, I think you win by 3. I feel like that's like serviceable. There we go. That's the term I'm looking for. It's serviceable.
I mean, after a boring first period, I sat here listening to it while I was pretending to work on other things. After a boring first period, I mean, the second period 3-1, I was going on 3-1. I think was a lot more what I expected. I did not expect the Duke to answer back. What felt like 30 seconds later was a little over a minute. So they played about as well as they needed to. So I'm not going to get nitpicky tonight. It's 4 wins in a row. I'm going to choose to not be nitpicky, but I do get, like, we wanted them to kick their teeth in. You went by 3+. You at least, like, kicked him in the face. I don't know if the teeth are in, but you kicked him in the face, and that's fine with me.
Absolutely. Let's take a really quick look at the stats, because this is really interesting, Matthew. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the stats here. This looks to be as clean of a game if I've ever seen one. A total of 8 penalty minutes between the two teams in an entire 60-minute game, and a total of 16 hits only. 16 hits between both teams.
It's a very friendly game.
It is a very friendly game. Honestly, maybe the Coyotes were like, look, we already beat on you guys. Like we're already beating on you guys enough. We're not gonna fight. We're not going to make this a big deal.
Remember, this team is not the same blue-collar team from last year. They're not out-hitting you by X amount.
No, that they also probably felt bad the fact that if you saw the arena, that arena was barely half full. Like it's, oh God, it was bad.
Oh, they can fit more. They can fit more people in my high school gym, Robin.
Yeah. And those who follow me on Twitter know that I tweeted out that personally kind of made me a little bit sad as someone who grew up a Sharks fan. Side note, it's just because it used to be packed, but to see it's like that, you know what? Maybe the Coyotes were just like, hey, there's no true home ice advantage here because they don't have fans here. That probably helped them out a little bit. Also, again,
that mean.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Maybe.
They could be.
I don't know. Want me to just go ahead and do the goal scoring summary?
Let's do it.
All right, so starting the second period, Michael Kesselring his third goal of the season from Clayton Keller at 4:58. Coyotes are up 1-0. Before Anthony Duclair, former Coyotes legend, scores his 7th of the season at 6:20. Arizona answers back a little over 2 minutes later. Clayton Keller is 12th of the season from Kerfoot and Jonathan Dursey. Then at 12:56, Kerfoot decides he wants a goal for himself, his third, from Schmaltzy and Dursey. Go to the third period, Philip Sedina That's a very interesting name. 26 seconds in, it's 3-2. Coyotes. That's where I was a little concerned. But you know what? Nick Schmaltz said, nah, you'll fine. You'll be fine. 7:45, his 10th goal of the season on the power play from Alex Kerfoot and Clayton Keller. And then at 12:50, the final goal, Lawson Krause, his 14th from Matthias Michelli and Nick Bukestad. 5-2 is your final, Robin.
5-2 is that final score. Once again, as the Coyotes take that, now they're on the 4-game winning streak. And I want to go back, Matthew, to a discussion that we had earlier this week, I think. I think you were talking about that this feels like previously you were talking about like, oh yeah, the painfully mediocre of like 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss kind of deal. Now we're kind of, it almost feels like it's swinging to that, as what you mentioned, like that pendulum where it's starting to go, that these streaks starting to get bigger. You had that 3-game losing streak, 5-game winning streak. Was it 4-game losing streak? And then now 4-game winning streak. It's just like
2 more, Robin, to make it 6. You lose 3, you win 5, you lose 4, you win 6.
It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. But
just swings. That's all it's supposed to do, Robin. It's just a pendulum. It just keeps swinging.
The Coyotes need to figure out a way to stabilize it, right? They need to hold these streaks at least. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, sure. Like, I'm not expecting you to, win every single game. But let's say like win 4, then maybe like lose 1 and then like win 3. Like I'm not. And then like
you
lose
want a
2.
cup contender, don't you? That sounds like cup contending numbers.
No,
You're actually winning that much more often. Like you get 1 loss, okay.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying I was giving an example where I was going to give another loss, like then like lose 2 or 3, and then whatever it was. This. I want to see better consistency because we know this team is capable. This team is, as we mentioned earlier, it's capable of a playoff push. I should say capable of a playoff push. And I know now they are technically in a playoff spot, but still, like, oh my god, it's.
Want to know what's funny? Side note. So remember how we were talking about Winnipeg was the division leader?
Yeah.
2-way tie between Dallas and Colorado. Winnipeg is back at 3rd.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
1 game, 1 win for both teams.
Speaking of which, I need to find my my sportsbook ticket. I put it somewhere when I moved between my apartments. Of when I picked Dallas to win the Stanley Cup. In Vegas, but I'm gonna see if I could find it. So make sure I can cash in if it happens this year. Who knows? Side note, but what we're gonna do though is we are going to keep talking about this win over the San Jose Sharks, and then to talk about a couple other things that we noticed during the game. One thing in particular that scared the absolute bejeebers out of us, and then we'll take a quick look ahead. But first, a quick word from our sponsors on today's show. And today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Clayton Keller can score 50 goals. The Arizona Coyotes can make the Stanley Cup playoffs. And you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is a number 1 choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. Play alongside your friends, and it goes beyond hockey. You can do daily fantasy, NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, all on Sleeper. You can talk in a group and team chat functionality, connect with other fans. Entries can be made in under a minute. All you got to do is pick whether or not studs like Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Connor Ingram, if we even put goalies out there too, record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times your bet on sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of about 8 player stats. You heard me, Coyotes fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use the promo code Locked On NHL and you get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code Locked On NHL. See sleeper terms of use for details and locational availability. All right, Matthew, I teed it up before going into break. Let's get this one out of the way. Something that scared the absolute living hell out of us. Logan Cooley going down with what seemed like at the time, it looked like it could have been a bad knee injury. He didn't want to put weight on his leg, and he was out for a minute. And in that moment, I could feel and hear the entirety of the Coyotes pack holding their breath.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's only one of the highest rated prospects in the league. Only one of the Coyotes' best draft picks in the last handful of years. Nah, there was no reason for anyone to be concerned whatsoever on that play. But no, obviously I didn't see it. I'm sitting here listening to it. The fact that Keller's injury got mentioned during it made me like perk my ears up a little bit. So I'm hoping I misheard that because I'm distracted. Good to see he's okay. And we're back out there for a shift. He kind of was trying to test it, but also, as Lindsey Fry mentioned on the broadcast, like after a few minutes, he's like, I want my stick back. He wants to go back out there.
Yeah, no, that's the kind of thing about Logan Cooley. Maybe if anything, he just kind of like, it was like just a slight tweak of something, maybe like something overstretched. This is also remember he's a hockey player. Hockey players are generally pretty tough, and that really shows the fact that he's just kind of like shrugged that off. He's like, yeah, I want to get out there, give it to me, and you got to give him all that credit for that, right? You got to give him all the credit for getting back out there, and hopefully, I'm pretty sure that he's still probably going to get reviewed by team doctors, and see, if it's anything that they should be cautious about moving forward. I think we can be optimistic at this point and say that I don't think we should worry too much. But let's just not be surprised if maybe in the next couple of games he might be a little bit limited.
No, I think it'll be fine. I mean, if he was good enough to go back out there, he's probably fine. Of course, the doctors will probably do like a once-over. Whatever team staff is available might go to see if they could use San Jose's facilities. But I'm assuming he'll be fine. Any test will come back fine. Just dot your T's, cross your I's, and that's about it.
I just love that you just always reverse that. Sure. But no, it again, like I said, in the moment, it was absolutely terrifying. Like I said, I could hear like all of its pack holding their breath because, like you said, it's this is one of the top prospects they've ever had, and you want to protect this dude with your life. Everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to if it were up to anyone, if it didn't hinder his play, wrap this dude in bubble wrap. Like,
I can tell you, there's probably at least a few hundred people listening that if it would have been a serious knee injury, it'd be like, hey, you could just have my knee. My knee's healthy and good to go.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. There will be some people who listen to the show who probably would be thinking that way. Are you that way, Matt?
Though. I got a bum knee. You don't want this knee.
You don't want that knee. You don't want mine either. I got runner's knee. Or it's technically called runner's knee, but I haven't ran in a while. But
running away knee.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about in regards to Cooley's injury, or do you want to talk about like individual plays?
Let's talk about individual plays, individual players specifically. I think because I think there are some players out there just keep looking good. I think I'll say it outright before we get into anything else. The continuance of Michael Kesselring, dude. Like
on the exact same wavelength. I'm like, one Mr. Michael Kesselring continuing this streak of solid play. Second pair of defensemen if he keeps this up.
I mean, yeah. If he keeps it up, absolutely. And he's just been looking really good lately. And really just he's making it convincing. He's making every single minute he's on the ice convincing that he belongs in the NHL.
And I think what we're seeing, because obviously he's on the third pair, he played the lowest amount of minutes, 15 minutes, 27 seconds, is pretty close to his average. Are we thinking that potentially this kid's really good in the specific role? So, like, you could have a third pair defenseman that'll actually get you some offensive upside with solid defense?
Maybe.
Be very interesting.
Certainly something to think about.
What is there to think about?
I don't know. Just kind of like I always like to put some thought into some of those, some of those like, pairings and the way it all works down the road. Mm-hmm. I've never been one to speculate, what pairings would look like, certain lines, everything like that. That's why I have you.
Oh, okay. So who am I imagining? What pairings am I making?
I don't know. That's what I have you for.
Well, obviously, if Durzi keeps playing the way he is, that's your number one defenseman. I'm still going to have Moser as the number one defenseman on the left side. So then your second pairing is probably Valimaki. And Valimaki's more defensive, but decent two-way. Like, for some reason, the dude is putting up a little bit of points, and he does it in small bunches. I guess you could technically put him up there with Kesselring, but would that be a good matchup? And then you have, like, Dermott, really good third pair. But then Dumba and Stetcher, where do you slot them in? I'm trying to figure. Because Browner's a good seventh, but at this point, he's like eighth.
Yeah.
Moser, Durzi, we'll go. Yeah, Yuso, Kesselring, and then Stetchy with Dermott.
And that's a pretty decent defensive core.
Yeah, it's not bad. Pretty much like, actually, you know what's funny? This is probably not an original thought. It feels like with the amount of points that Kesselring is putting up semi-quietly, but the amount of points he's putting up, maybe he is what Dumba was supposed to be in terms of like a good, solid offensive right shot defenseman that's going to be defensively responsible.
Maybe.
I know coaches like their vets because I know what they're getting, but like this is the positive part of the wild card that is prospects, because you got to figure out what you're getting, and we are so close to figuring out if Kesselring is like a full-time NHLer. I'm going to vote yes right now, at least as we're going. I don't think it's another Dyson Mayo. I think he's going to make it.
As of tonight, I feel like we can be confident that he's a full-time NHLer.
Remember the Dyson Mayo story? Oh my god! Remember when we thought Dyson Mayo was going to be something?
I mean, to be fair, on my side, I got a chance to see Dyson Mayo when he was in the Roadrunners. He had some kind of promising looks. So I was like, maybe he's gonna and when he played well in Arizona, I'm like, oh, maybe he might play better at the NHL level. We'll see. And it kind of just fell flat, and I was like, yeah. I guess I should have seen this coming. Never again can you put all that trust in was the nickname I gave him? Vacuum mayonnaise.
Because you actually factor in the Dyson. That's funny. I don't think I got anything else to say about any individual players. I mean, obviously Keller was out of...
I do have one thing that I do want to point out, something that stood out to me a little bit, something that they started testing out recently that I think could be something to kind of move forward a little bit. But what we're going to do, though, is we're going to take a quick break, and I'll tell you guys about that on the other side. But first, a quick word from our sponsors on today's show.
And today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you're looking to maintain your vehicle and level it up or to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With the parts you need at the price you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit available only to U.S. customers.
Let's continue things here on Locked On Coyotes as we discuss the Arizona Coyotes 5-2 win over the San Jose Sharks. Matthew, I do want to bring one thing up that stood out to me, and I feel like it's something I kind of would like to see in the future a little bit more of. And it's a little bit of the reworking of the power play lines. It's mostly the same line, but they actually swapped Matias Maccelli and Logan Cooley. So Logan Cooley is now on the second power play unit, Matias Maccelli on the first. And I feel like that is working a lot.
I didn't get to see it, but listening to it, the power play seemed fine. If Logan Cooley gets a little more of an opportunity to be like, hey, you're the shooter guy, do the shooting.
Logan Cooley's able to command more of the offense, I believe, as the second power play unit guy versus the first. Because in the first, I mean, you're alongside, Schmaltz and Keller and the top guys. Like you're instantly going to be like, oh, I'm going to pass it to them because they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking about that a little bit too, because I also feel like Cooley is a decent passer, but those little quick chip passes they do, especially on the power plays where it's kind of a tic-tac-toe, it kind of feels like he's maybe not the greatest at it. I'm assuming he didn't practice too much at that because that wasn't really his gig. If you have him on the second power play, he no longer is fitting that role for the middle person in the tic-tac-toe, but Kerfoot fits it perfectly, and then Cooley can go be a little more of a shooter. It's like that actually kind of works the way they have it right
and
now.
Having Maccelli as the extra. Yeah, it's Schmaltz, Kerfoot, Keller, Maccelli, and then who's the defenseman on that?
I wouldn't mind if they swapped someone else for the second unit, so that way Cooley could play with Maccelli, though. Imagine the one-timers. Maccelli's a wizard.
And I think something like that could be an interesting thought process too, especially knowing that Matias Maccelli also is a generally pass first kind of guy. That kind of might give Cooley a better opportunity to actually shoot the gosh darn puck.
Shoot the gosh darn dang nabbit puck. What you actually, you know what? Do you want to do something we never really do? Do you want to follow up on our keys to the game?
Let's do it.
All right, I at least remember one of them. Special teams. They converted on one of their 3 power plays. I mean, 33% isn't bad. They did it.
You're right. That's right. They did. Looking at it once again. I mean, look, there's like I had to bring the stats back up. Very few power play opportunities in general, only 3. So yeah, 33%, not bad. Can't complain too much about that one. I'm trying to remember what the other ones were.
Cool to get 2 out of 3. I like bigger numbers.
Yeah. Although I'm an odd number kind of person.
0s and 5s, the only way I can do it.
Sure. Trying to think, what were your other keys too? And I had them like I had it somewhere. I was going to write it down, but then
we gotta start putting it on Twitter or something. Because I remember, like I said, one of the keys was special teams, and I'm pretty sure the second key was that rant I went on when I was like, oh, get pucks deep, get pucks to the net, win hockey games. Like, so I'm pretty sure we could say they did that, and then make up a key number 3. Let's have some fun with it.
Was it just kick him in the teeth?
They did kick him in the face I'll take that. You know what? Mission mostly accomplished. It's not a 1/3. It's a 2/3 of the way because I kind of did the other two. So there you go. 2/3.
I mean,
work.
winning 5-2, I think, is comfortable enough of a. It's not a dominating, convincing win, but it's a good win.
Yeah, good win. Much more convincing than the 1-0 win, the slogfest in Tempe. So, kind of any complaint or criticism or thing of note that I had following that, at least as of right now, they're on the right track, and I really don't have like the second guesses or any of the concerns right now. Hopefully, they don't start them back up against Colorado.
Oh yeah, that'd be. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We'll get through a preview of the Colorado game. Expect you guys can expect that as a special bonus Saturday episode coming tomorrow. But just be sure to keep out on the lookout for that. One side note, I guess this is kind of just like not really just necessarily game related, but it's more of television broadcast related. I thought it was really interesting that in the first intermission that the ESPN Plus crew decided to interview Javier Gutierrez, who was on site in San Jose, and I was like, just talked to him about the arena stuff. By the way, if you guys missed watching it on ESPN Plus, he just regurgitated the same information that we already knew, just kind of relaying it to the more national people because apparently people aren't up to date. I guess. He did say committed to the East Valley, and I saw someone tweet, it's like, oh, so that just means that the whole Northeast Phoenix site was just a ruse. No. No, guys. Like, yes, I know Northeast Phoenix, that area, that corridor, isn't technically East Valley, but it caters to East Valley residents, like specifically Northeast Valley in terms of in Scottsdale, but still. Like, don't look too much into it, guys. It's not that deep.
I know some people are like just getting mad at Gutierrez on Twitter, and like I'm also not going to defend him personally. I'm not going to open up a can of worms and trash talk or anything. But I'm not going to, but didn't say anything wrong. I know it's kind of regurgitation, like you said, to the national media. I get the Coyotes fans are kind of sick of it. I'm not exactly like on the opposite side of you here.
Honestly, I was hoping that there would be some kind of news because like this would actually have been your opportunity to release something. You're on national, like not really national TV, but you're like on a, you have more of a platform here. You're the ESPN crew. They could take that.
That would have been a fun, it would have been a fun surprise release. Just here you go. But then apparently, like, so I was reading one of the tweets, and someone said that he said still by the end of this year. Did he still say by the end of this year with a week to go?
Yes. So maybe we get a little Christmas treat.
Oh my God, they're waiting for Christmas.
Yes.
Inside sources right here. My sources are telling me that Christmas. Who are my sources? The voices inside my head. So you can put that on pen to paper.
How well can we trust the voices inside Matt's head? You don't.
Pretty well. I've managed to get where I've gotten in life. I think they've been telling me at least mostly good information.
I guess. But yes, again, you just regurgitated information. And once again, don't look too much into it. If there was anything that he said that might have led you to believe there is anything else, it's not.
Nah, it's in Glendale. They're going back to Glendale, my other sources are saying.
They're going to you know what? That's it. They're all going to like the north side of Deer Valley.
Just as far away as possible. Like,
as completely obscure. No. Anyways, any final thoughts before we close things off?
No, I'm happy. Seriously. They're continuing the streak, doing all the good things well, and the little things I had any concerns on or questions on, they answered them. So for right now, pretty good.
Awesome. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review. Like, comment, subscribe if you 2 already. Excuse me, guys.
Bloopers. Keep it a man.
We're available everywhere you get your podcast, including on YouTube, SiriusXM, and ad-free on Amazon Music. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. I don't know why I can't right now. I can't keep serious. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, and on X at LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robin_Leonio. Matthew Jacobson is at the AZ Sports Guy. Interact with us, ask a question you might have. We might answer right back on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.